Not everybody has heard the name Maria Lampropolous, but she is one of the few players in my memory that has won 7 figures in 2 10K or lower buy-ins in the course of a 12-month period. That is really hard to do. But Maria has done that, and she is in this massive hand against Sean Buchanan in the PCA.
Just to give you guys a sense of how rare that is, the only other person we could think of who's done that is Greg Merson.
Yeah.
The year he won the World Series. So it's unbelievably rare. She is one of the rising stars in poker for sure, and this is part of the proof of it. And maybe even this hand is part of the proof of it, even though there's some weird stuff that happens.
And don't go tweeting at us, Fedor Holtz, Justin Bonomo. Those are in like 100K events.
Yeah,
We're not saying that. We're saying 10K or less buy-ins. Anyway, this hand is very strange and very interesting, and it was suggested by Evan Denninghoff and Giannis Selenidis on Twitter. Include a YouTube link and a timestamp when you suggest, or get the hell out.
Now let us set the situation for you. There's 5 left in the PCA. Everyone's already locked up a few $100,000, but there is, as we mentioned, over $1 million to be won for first place, so there's a huge amount to play for still. Maria is in the small blind. Sean Buchanan, who's also done very, very well, has millions in live earnings, is in the big blind. They're going to face off in a blind versus blind battle.
And if you want to face off with the poker guys, you got to go on Nitrogen Sports Poker Room.
It's the only way.
I mean, there's other ways, but this is a pretty good way. If you use the link in the description of this video when you sign up for Nitrogen, you get access to our exclusive,
close enough,
super awesome monthly tournament, which guarantees 1,000 buy-ins. And we only ever get, 80 players?
Something like that.
And we play it sometimes. It's a bunch of fun. Nitrogen also has sports betting. It has casino games. It's fun. Get on Nitrogen, you jerks.
Yeah, you get your money in and out fast because it's Bitcoin only. It's a great place to play. Get in there and get you some poker. Let's get to the hand.
Maria Lampropolous has Queen 3 offsuit in the small blind. It's Sean Buchanan's big blind. She raises to 275,000. A 7 for Bucky.
He'll be more than happy to defend.
He does call.
He is way ahead of Maria's small blind raising range.
The flop is 7-4 deuce. Top for Buchanan. Lampropolous was the pre-flop aggressor, and it looks like she'll continue. A C-bet of 230,000.
Top pair, top kicker against a player who's been more aggro than the giant fake rock from Guts.
That's a call. More than $1 million in the pot now. The turn card is another 7. Buchanan improves to trips, and Lampropolous is now drawing dead.
She's not usually one to give up.
She checks.
Oh, maybe she is giving up.
375,000 from Buchanan. Lampropolous with just queen high.
She does take her time in her decisions. I would expect to fold here a lot. Okay.
She does not fold. She calls, and this hand is going to the river. 1.8 million in the pot now. And Buchanan River's a full house.
I'm perplexed.
Lampropolous checks. Bucky will no doubt go for value. The white chips he's counting out are worth 100K each. So that's a bet of 1.1 million. And is this not a trivial fold for Maria Lampropolous?
Well, I know a lot of people out there are thinking, what is she thinking about? And there's actually kind of an argument for a call. I'm not going to die on that hill, but it's there. It's a polarizing bet, which means it's almost always a 7 or nothing. And ace and king highs are nothing, but they're actually too good to bet the turn and river with. So when Sean is bluffing, queen high is going to be the best hand.
Well, we referenced that Maria Lampropolous does take her time over her decisions. Sean Buchanan feels she's had enough of it.
A lot of times in these clock situations, players make an eventual fold.
We have 30 seconds to act from them.
She doesn't need the 30 seconds, she calls!
She did it, she went for it. She flew a little too close to the sun and got burnt, but wow.
I'm gonna do an impression of the viewers right now.
Okay.
Well, what? How? That's you.
I don't think that's what they were like at all. I think they're more like, what?
Oh,
Like that.
That's okay. That's East Coast. I was doing West
Yeah,
Coast.
yeah,
You know,
East
and then
Coast,
European. I don't know what you guys do, but South American, I'm not sure either. But I know for sure that you're surprised that Maria Lampropolou called with Queen 3 here. But it's possible that this is okay. We can talk about it. We're gonna have to.
We're gonna have to talk about
All
that.
right. So the raise pre-flop, kind of big because it's small to big. Nice. I like
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
Buchanan calls, gets the miracle flop. Wonderful for him.
The miracle flop, he flops a pair.
Well, I mean, like, it's the best flop in the world for a 7 off, right?
I mean, it's not, but it's a perfectly good flop.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Calls, cool. 7 on the turn.
That's
Check.
a miracle card.
Yes. The check call by Lampropolou begins this thing where she starts calling with Queen High. Now, why would she do that?
Well, I mean, there are some reasons to call, I guess, and of course the reasons are we have to hope Sean has a straight draw, basically.
There are a lot of straight draws.
There are a lot of straight draws. So if he has one of those, well, nothing improved, right? The straight draws are still the straight draws. He has to have decided to just call on the flop, which he's going to do with most of his straight draws because he's in position and they're deep enough. He doesn't need to raise all this stuff here because he also knows raising really polarizes him in a way where if she has any kind of real hand, she's probably just not going to believe him.
Right.
So I think calling with a straight draw on the flop is something he would do a lot. Now she needs him to have a straight draw. The problem is, even if he has a straight draw, by the way, she blocks a little bit of the straight draws with the 3 in her hand, which isn't super great.
The 3-5 and the 3-6.
Which that's not ideal, but whatever. The problem is, those straight draws have pretty good equity against Queen 3, number 1, right? So that's not amazing.
But she'll know for sure if one of them comes in or one of them makes a pair or something.
She'll know if one of them does. She won't know if the one he has does.
Yeah.
But yes, you're right. That is meaningful. But I'm saying, like, it isn't like she's calling with, like, well, she's way ahead. If she's ahead, she's not that far ahead anyway. By the way, is it possible sometimes Sean has a hand that's ahead of her right now and he's bluffing, like King High? I don't know. It's
King High,
possible.
King High's a big maybe. We can talk about that more when we get to the river.
Okay.
But let's talk about the straight draws a bit more because there are a ton of them. I know she blocked some of them, but there's still significant amounts. 3-5, 3-6, 5-6, 6-8, and I think there's other ones, but there's a lot, basically.
Yeah.
There's a significant amount of straight draws. Now, what's happening here is that Maria doesn't have as many 7s in her range as Sean has in his. We know she can have 7s pre-flop, but all we know about her on the flop is that she decided to continuation bet. Sean actively decided to call, making him a bit more top pair heavy than she is. And she has a lot more overpairs than Sean does, which she would likely check on the turn.
On this turn.
Yeah, so Sean is going to rep a 7 no matter what he has that he called on the flop with, unless it's a 4 or a deuce.
Yeah, that's true. He's almost always going to bet his bluffs here. Anything that isn't a pair, he's almost always going to bet. And of course, it's going to bet his trip 7s. He's likely to check back his 1 pair of hands because, as Grant's saying, Maria often has overpairs here, or she's going to play all her overpairs as a check when the 7 pairs, almost certainly.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just kind of suicide to bet an overpair on this board against a good player when the 7 comes.
Because he can either bluff as a raise and know that he's got a lot more 7s than she does and she's in a terrible spot, or he's going to have a 7 a lot. Those are both really bad spots.
So let's get to the river where Maria really follows through with the gusto, really takes the decision as she made on the turn and says, I truly believe in this decision. This is the correct decision. I'm going to do it. I'm going to call.
Yeah.
So I admire that she stuck with her read, at least. You know, she's saying, okay, all the straight draws missed, and I don't believe that you have a 4 because, as we were briefly touching on, we don't think Sean's going to bet a 4 on the turn because, of course, Maria is never folding an overpair on the turn, and she's definitely going to check an overpair on the turn, so Sean can't really bet a 4 profitably on the turn unless he's just protecting against, like, Queen Jack and stuff like that, but whatever. He's probably not doing that, right?
I mean, probably not, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, the hands that she's really losing to are anything with a 7 in it, as we see. Pocket 4s, pocket deuces, maybe once in a while quad 7s, but it's very rare that he's going to have 2 7s, but once in a while. That's not very many combos at all, and that sort of plays into, I guess, why she thinks she can make this call with Queen High.
Wrong. It's actually quite a few combos when you think about it. It's like way too many combos, and we think it's actually problematic, and she might not have done the combos in her head. Now, we're making some assumptions about Sean's range here, but certainly he has Ace 7 in his range.
Yeah.
King 7 in his range.
Yeah.
Queen 7 suited, Jack 7 suited, 10 7 suited, and 7 9 and 7 8 offsuit. 7 6 offsuit.
Yeah.
7 5 suited. maybe
At
even
least,
offsuit.
yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, I just mentioned what turns out to be about 46 combos.
Might even have 10-7s off, maybe. We don't know. But
Including the pocket deuces and pocket fours and pocket sevens. That comes to like 46 to 50 combos.
Yeah.
Which is a ton of combos of value. And it might not feel like a lot of value because it's like, well, you got to have a 7 or have flopped a set. But that actually adds up to a ton of stuff versus about 28 combos of straight draws from her perspective when she blocks the 3.
The other problem, of course, is Sean's not going to necessarily follow through on the river every time with his bluffs, but every time he has a 7, top
Yes.
full house, he's always taking this line.
Any full house or quads he's taking this
So
line.
this is really problematic, where it's not like, we can eliminate some of the bluffs along the way. He's not going to play 100% in this way, but he really is going to play his value, almost 100% of it like this. He's almost always calling. Maybe once in a while he'll raise flop sets on the flop, maybe once in a while, but pretty rarely, honestly.
On this dry board against an aggressive player.
Blind versus blind. He's going to let her keep firing. There's very little to be afraid of. And then on the turn, she checks, he bets. So now he's betting with all his massive value when he might have been deciding to raise sometimes. And on the river, of course, he's just betting again. So that's the real problem, I think, for Maria.
Right. So from a chip EV perspective, with the combos that I just said, this is actually a borderline good call, but that's if he bluffs every hand that he has, which he doesn't.
It just doesn't seem possible, right?
Right, and that's just chip EV, by the way. That doesn't include ICM, which is important here, although they are deep stacked, so it's not quite as important.
It's not quite as important, but we are 5-handed, and Maria making this call and losing really does hurt her pretty dramatically. She ends up losing something like 40% of her stack in this hand with queen high for no real reason, right? Like, I understand that once in a while she calls here, she's right. We're doing a breakdown the other way, and it's unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
Like she's one of the great heroes of all time in poker, and it's amazing, and maybe that's worth it for that. But so often, really, I mean, this is why most people check fold queen 3 off on the turn, right? Or bet again. They almost never will check call this hand because you put yourself in these spots where if you check call the turn and a brick comes like it did, because a 4 is a brick in this scenario for sure. Well, you're supposed to call the river in theory, except you're also supposed to drop some of the hands you called with on the turn. Queen 3 is like the bottom of our range. I think we're supposed to fold no matter what the river, really. I don't know how this happened. Boy, Maria, you lost a lot of chips here.
I mean, I understand. I absolutely understand her thought process.
Yeah, no.
But she did not take into account distribution. She has a bunch of ace highs that are better here. And like Jonathan mentioned briefly earlier, what if Sean is bluffing with king high? What a disaster that would be. It's possible he floats king 10 on the flop, tries to improve, tries to just get her to shut down so he can bet. And now he's bluffing to try to get her off of ace high, and she calls with queen high. That would be a massive failure.
She also, we're talking about distribution, she has way more than just ace high. She has ace high, she has overpairs, she has full houses, she has like ace 4 in her range and things like that, which she absolutely is going to play just like this. So she's got a million stronger hands, and this is maybe as weak as it possibly gets. This may literally be the nut low hand that she has here, right?
Maybe she does this with Jack 10 because, whatever. But
Maybe Jack 10. So it's at the very, very bottom group of hands anyway, at a minimum. Right? That's absolutely another reason to fold, especially if you're not sure what you're doing. So you have to really know for sure that this is a quality call, meaning like he's going to have enough bluffs here. Otherwise, you're supposed to fold.
I think you are, and I think she also underestimated his value combos, which we enumerated earlier, which doesn't seem like a lot, but actually ends up being quite a bit due to the blind versus blind scenario.
I've definitely been there a lot where I'm like, it's a 7 or nothing, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think about how many 7s there really are, right?
But there's a lot in this case. But you know what? Maria gets to win the event anyway.
Yes. So hey, and you played great throughout the whole tournament for sure, Maria. Just don't love this hand. All right, so ultimately we decided we think Maria's supposed to fold this hand on the river, possibly beforehand. I'm more of a fold the turn kind of a guy. What do you guys think, though? Do you think, can you justify this call? The straight draws did all miss for sure. Do you agree with us that there's this many 7s that Sean can really have, or do you disagree? Let us know in the comments. We're really looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
I mean, he's got to have that many 7s, right?
I mean, I'm asking what they think, man.
I would like to know what you think as well. I would also like you to watch this Davide Katai Queen High hero call. It might work out a little bit better for him than it did for Maria.
It always does when Davide makes a no-pair hero call.
Yeah, because he looks at the guy and he's like, oh, his eyebrow did the thing. I guess I call.
Obviously, he doesn't have it. I have a queen. How can I fold?
Yeah, that's the Davide way. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Also pretty good, by the way, is our podcast.
Yes.
I would say it's even better than Davide Katai. I mean, sorry, I didn't mean that, Davide. I'm sorry.
It can't be true, Davide.
The breakdown presented by the Poker Guys, though, is something you should check out. It's a podcast. It's about 45 minutes, sometimes longer, sometimes a wee bit shorter, but usually at least 45 minutes of in-depth, one-hand analysis. If this isn't enough for you, and I know you're insatiable with your poker desires, then you got to check out the podcast.
Yeah, that's where we literally just this hand, we spent 45 minutes talking about. That's what we do on our podcast. So we go crazy, crazy in depth. Get in there and check it out.
Also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel.